people,
Right.
all think basically the same. They want
Yeah.
they want to raise their family.
Right.
They want to live in a safe community.
Mm-hmm.
They want to have a few extras.
Absolutely.
They want to enjoy themselves.
Mm-hmm.
They want to be able to do things with friends. They want to live in a safe neighborhood,
Mm-hmm.
a safe community.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want hassles. They want as little BS as possible. And then when the time comes, they want to retire and enjoy their old age. That's what people want.
Everyone.
Everybody.
And that's why
Everybody.
I think, and that's why I'm so unhappy with the left half of the party. Because if you look at positions on, if you look at polling people on positions, that's why it's like, talking about the black folk. Sometimes you have to talk about black people and Hispanics to show that they're not unlike white folks. Because unfortunately, the people on the far right and the people on the far left have created these mythical images of what black people are like. For one thing, inner city. Most black people don't live in the inner city. Most black people live in the suburbs or live in rural America. Or some, what I'm saying? They create these images.
I'm going to use that T word again. It's tribal.
Tribalism. And the fact is, yes, statistically speaking, most white Republicans and most black voters didn't give a crap about the dude doing blackface in 1984. Mm-hmm. They didn't care.
Yeah.
It's 1984. And they're like, he's got to go because he did blackface. They don't care. Is he a good governor? Do they agree with his positions? But these white liberals over here are telling me, aren't you offended? And someone pointed something out. They were saying every time they look at my page, there's some white liberal telling me how racism works. And I realized, yeah, you're right. Every time. Let me tell you, these Nazis are out there, and Donald Trump has made them dangerous. And there's someone who's a friend of mine said something to the effect of, well, I don't think the conservatives, I don't think the liberals are as racist as the conservatives. I think they're just more comfortable with you. And I just listed, like 500 words, pages of examples of and all that was in the last 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. And I'm saying they're people, and people are prejudiced. And I'm not saying that they're evil, but this whole notion that the conservatives are all racist and Republicans are irredeemable.
And there's a difference between being prejudiced and being racist.
Absolutely.
A big difference. Everybody is prejudiced.
Everybody
is.
Yes.
Everybody is.
Yeah.
It's different if you don't like that person who's black than not like that person because they're black. Big difference.
Oh, it's huge difference.
Big difference. Big difference.
And that goes with Cory Booker and Kamala
Sure,
Harris. People
exactly.
didn't like them, and they turned it into, they were unfair to the black candidates. I'm like, no, they did a terrible job running for president.
Yeah.
And for them to compare those two to Barack Obama, to me, is an insult to Obama.
Well, again, take it a step further. No more Harris, no more Booker, so no more people of color. Well, what about Gabbard or Yang?
They don't count.
Well, but not that color.
Yeah, somehow they were like, people of color. For one thing, I don't know very many black folks who say that term.
People of color?
It's a silly term. Non-white. It's a silly term.
There was a term one time. It was a cartoon. This was years ago. It was the cartoon with a bunch of animals on it. Forgive me, I forget the name of it. But it was the one person he said colored people, and they said, we don't say colored people anymore. Okay, Negro. We don't say Negro anymore. Okay, African American.
I think I saw
We don't
that.
say African American anymore. Okay, what do we say? We say people of color. And he said, oh, colored people. And I read that. I thought,
that's pretty funny. Yeah. But
it's
I mean,
all semantics.
and it's like perfect example was AOC. Now, Omar and them got in a little issue with Pelosi. It was Omar and Presley. They call it squad.
Yes.
So they had a disagreement. AOC comes out and says, Nancy Pelosi doesn't like women of color. And Omar and Presley were like, shut up. Like, they may have said that in a meeting, but it's not for you to go out. And he goes, well, I'm a woman of color. And they're like, wait a minute, you're not. AOC, and I don't dislike AOC. I think she brings a lot of positive things. But she's a hipster she's a hipster from New York.
Yeah.
She doesn't have the same experience as Omar, who came from freaking the middle
Somalia,
Somalia, a war, and Presley, who's in a very, mixed, district, a lot of immigrants, and Talib, who came from, who's a Palestinian origin. Mm-hmm. If you look at AOC's district, she didn't even win the white and Hispanic places. She won the white gentrification cats.
Mm-hmm.
So they're kind of like, and this is something that we see a lot with the so-called people of color scene. You'll have a group of black folks, and a lot of times the black folks want to get along with people. They're not happy with how they're being treated, but they're not looking to make a scene.
Mm-hmm.
And then someone who calls themselves a person of color will come in and be like, yeah, we're going to tear it down. And yeah. And they're the ones going out saying, I hate whitey, this and that. And the black folks are like, dude, shut up. That's not how we do this. Can you kind of chill the hell out and let's do it the right way? Mm-hmm. And I've been in several groups where someone goes, I'm a person of color. And I go, I don't know what they mean. They might be your color.
Yeah.
They don't look any more or less. And they're like, yes, I'm a minority. And I'm not putting that down. But then they start speaking for all the black folks. And I'm just like, well, nobody in here was talking about any of that. We're just trying to like make things work.
Sure.
And we're not necessarily saying we're going to take any crap. But it's just interesting, the people of color thing. People from India have a completely different historical experience than Latin Americans from Brazil.
Absolutely.
And to lump them all together.
Different culture, different religion.
In a history, and then you talk Middle Eastern people, Asian folks, and you go people of color. The implication is, well, white people are racist, and therefore they all have the same issue because they're all going to be discriminated against. But that doesn't tell you anything.
Not at all.
You know, and Yang's experience is totally different than Gabbert's. Neither one of them are white, but like you said, because they're not part of the club. And when I talk club, Gillibrand, Harris, Booker, Warren, the people who are approved, Buttigieg was until they found out what he was doing in South Bend. And I call it the club. They were the people. They're the fresh face of the Democratic Party. Yeah. You know, and Bernie got kicked out of the club, which is the best thing that ever happened to him. They were like, Bernie, you're an old white guy now. And I think that's why he's doing well, because people are tired of that crap.
Yeah, they're tired of these. I hope you're right.
They're tired of these professors. And I mean the black, white, I don't care what color you are. You know, I saw some Asian guy who listed all these great movies that black people were in. Glory. There's like 4 or 5 other movies. There was the movie about it was like a couple movies about old black baseball players, Negro League baseball players. Yeah. There was the movie about the black women who were all
mathematicians.
Who part of and he goes, those movies are all bad because they're white savior movies. And I've seen these movies. I go, and he's an Asian guy. He goes, these are ways the white man is trying to control you. She went off on Green Book. That's a white savior movie. I'm just like, why is this dude? And he goes, and us people of color. I go, whoa. I've never heard any black people talk about those movies. Like, I know, this shit, Red Tails. I'm like, Red Tails was a white savior movie. And he goes, this is why. And he's analyzing it. And I'm thinking, this is so disrespectful to the actors and the actresses in that movie. Do you think that they didn't read the script and decide whether or not those movies were acceptable? This white savior, this is one of the stupidest academic concepts ever. Now, there's some movies like The Blind Side. I can understand why they're unhappy with that, because the guy in the movie that was based on said it was inaccurate, you know? But to say that if there's a white guy involved that's opposing racism, they say that movie is demeaning black people because it's saying the white guy is saving them. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. So wait, you're mad at Republicans for not standing up against racism, but then when they stand up against it, you say they're just doing it for opportunistic. You're mad against white people for not doing the right thing and helping you, but then when they help you, you call them white saviors. That's what people are tired of. That's why they're flocking to Bernie and Dave Chappelle and Sanders and people who just don't want to live like that, because you can't come. You and I can't even have a conversation on my own Facebook page under those rules. Mm-hmm. How crazy is that? You know, so
yeah, it is crazy, and I don't know what's going to happen in the future. All I can do is hope and pray that things get better. Things seem to be getting better.
Things are getting better.
Even though they are. With
evil Obama and evil Trump in the White House, our world has gotten better. I don't care.
And I even mentioned to somebody one time, they said, "Wow, it was on a guy on Facebook says we absolutely, this country, this democracy will not survive 4 more years of Trump." And I made the comment, we survived 8 years of Obama. well, Obama was a good president. I said, no, Obama was a president that you agreed with.
Yes.
I said, if we get 8 years of Obama, the country's fine. 8 years of Trump, the country's going to be fine. People.
Because we don't teach civics in school.
That's correct.
They think the president controls things. That's why if people taught civics in school, Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren wouldn't even be in the primary. We wouldn't be talking about them. If they knew how budgets worked, we wouldn't be talking about these people promising stuff that they have no possible way. And saying what you and I are saying as a Democrat, they call you a moderate. And the way they talk about moderate Democrats, that these people that I'm discussing,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I saw the Republicans do that to their moderates, and it was bad.
Mm-hmm.
Progressive,
yeah.
rhino, what? It's
I hate the term rhino.
Stupid.
Hate it.
Stupid. But what these guys on the left are doing, it's worse. Because not only are they calling them moderate centrist, they call them gross. They're calling them gross. There's a couple guys that call them and go, oh, yeah, if you're a centrist, you're gross. What? What does that even mean? And they use terms gross and they nuance. They use all these little hip terms.
Yeah.
So I just banned them from my page. And it's funny because like, why did you ban that term? I want to see you use another word. I want to see you think, because that's a hip, splaining. Anything splaining, mansplaining, Bernie splaining, black splaining. No, that's banned. And they're like, oh, well then say your thought without that. And if you can't, then maybe you're not thinking as critically as you think you are. If you need like some hip term, to make your point instead of just speaking to me.
Sure.
And I think the world gets better. I think the world's getting better.
I do too.
But people, like you said, tribalism, my guy, it's got to be Bernie. It's got to be Elizabeth Warren. It's got to be Trump. If not, I'm against you.
Way back, I still remember this was when I was a small boy, and the election was taking place, and this was Humphrey Nixon. That's how long ago that is. And my father worked in a warehouse, big Democrat.
Right.
Everybody that I knew were Democrats.
Mm-hmm.
And we had to elect Hubert Humphrey, because if that Nixon gets into office, it's all over.
Right.
And then Nixon won the election. I'm not kidding. I was 9 years old,
right,
and I had nightmares. And then finally, I
So your household was Democrat?
They were,
okay.
They were. But then I was crying. My mother said, "What's the matter?" They said, "Well, Nixon won the election." Yeah, we kind of wished Humphrey would have won.
Right.
But now this is going to happen. That's going to happen. I said, "No, it's not. It'll be fine." We wanted Humphrey to win, but he didn't win. Maybe he'll win the next time, but everything's just going to be fine. And it was. And it was. And it's funny because it's always been like that, right? It's always been that way.
It's the most important election of our life.
Oh, yeah.
If we don't get this right, our country is destroyed. And the thing that really bugs me, I won't say bugs me, I always laugh, and people get mad at me. My own friends get mad at me because they were like, Donald Trump's unstoppable and he's destroying democracy. I go, no, he's not. There's nothing undemocratic about it. But he got acquitted. Yes, that the system worked. He's like, what? I go, I thought you thought yes, I think what he did was wrong, but I'm also glad that he got acquitted. What? Yes. I'm glad they did not remove Donald Trump, because it means the system protects us against partisan rejection of the other side. Mm-hmm. If it's easy to impeach someone every single election, Obama would have been gone,
yep.
Bush would have been gone, and we end up like Venezuela.
Exactly.
I want you, if you don't want Donald Trump to be the president, then you stop your nonsense, because I'm not a Democrat. I'm really done with this party. Yeah. I'm partly almost want Trump to win, and I don't, but I partly want him to win so I can be like seriously done. And because honestly,
all you had to do was put somebody out there who was that much better.
And I'm just saying, if Trump wins, I'm not going to lament. We're going to light you up. I'm talking about the Democratic Party. Mm-hmm. We're going to just, hey, you're going, and I say this, you'll see a mass exodus of black folks. Maybe, of not just black folks. You'll see a mass exodus of their base from the Democratic Party if Trump wins. And I also think down the line, Trump will do something so crazy, you'll also see a mass exodus of Republicans.
Will we ever see a third party in our lifetime?
I think if Trump wins, there's a very good chance there will be. I don't know if we'll see it. If Trump is beaten, I think that will stabilize the two-party system.
You think the Republicans are only staying with him because that's all they got? And then if he wins the election, he can't win the